Did you know that beneath Amsterdam is a complex sewer system? In addition to the famous canals that cross Amsterdam, there is also an extensive network of underground canals built as early as the 16th century. This intricate sewer system not only keeps the city's canals clean, but also prevents flooding. Staying true to tradition, Amsterdam conducts annual inspections to keep these old canals in working condition and to keep the city afloat. Did you know that what is called informing in Belarus, Russia, and throughout Europe is considered a manifestation of vigilance in the United States? Americans are accustomed to acting quickly and calling the police if they notice something suspicious in their neighbors or local area. In a country where safety and order are highly valued, residents see it as their duty to monitor their surroundings and help maintain public order, sometimes even without being asked. This illustrates the dominant culture of vigilance in the U.S., where it is viewed not as interference, but as a responsibility of every citizen. Wow! In some U.S. states, atheists are not allowed to hold public office. In the U.S., there are 7 states where atheists are legally prohibited from holding public office. This is intriguing, as America is known for its fight for religious freedom. However, in some states, laws still exist that restrict the rights of individuals in public service based on their religious beliefs. This issue remains relevant for many residents seeking legislative changes that would guarantee full religious freedom for all citizens. Why does freshly cut grass smell so good? The fresh scent of newly mowed grass is actually a distress signal. When grass is cut, it releases chemicals to warn nearby plants of danger. These compounds, known as green leaf volatiles, are a plant's way of signaling that it has been injured. This remarkable mechanism highlights the sophisticated communication that exists even in the plant world. So, the next time you enjoy the smell of cut grass, remember, it's nature's way of calling for help. Believe it or not, rats can laugh. Yes, you heard that right. Rats can laugh. Scientists have discovered that these cute rodents emit ultrasonic giggles when tickled. While humans can't hear these sounds, the rat's laughter has been recorded with special equipment and proved that rats can experience pleasure. This fact opens a new dimension in the study of animals' emotional worlds. Imagine, rats not only run through mazes, but also have fun, just like we do. Who would have thought that rats could be so funny and emotionally responsive creatures? Did you know that the oldest tattoo is over 5,000 years old? In 1991, archaeologists discovered a mummy known as Ötzi in the Alps. Ötzi is around 5,300 years old, and on his body they found 61 tattoos, mostly lines and crosses. These tattoos may have been used to relieve pain as they are located near acupuncture points. It's fascinating to think that ancient civilizations used tattoos not just for decoration, but also for healing purposes. Did you know your keyboard is dirtier than a toilet seat? It sounds awful, but your keyboard can be a real breeding ground for germs. Studies have shown that keyboards often contain more bacteria than toilet seats. Dust, food crumbs, and microbes accumulate on the keys over time. That's why regularly cleaning your keyboard isn't just a good habit. It's an important hygiene measure. A keyboard cleaner and wet wipes are your best friends in the battle against germs. Can you imagine that 1 billion seconds equals 32 years? If you calculate, 1 billion seconds equals approximately 31 years, 8 months, and 8 days. It's an example of how easy it is to get lost in the measurement of time when it is expressed in such large numbers. For comparison, in that period, a child could grow up, become an adult, and graduate from university. Time moves quietly, and realizing that 1 billion seconds covers such a long span of life makes you think about its value and fleeting nature. How about this? In Italy, there is a museum filled with objects found at the bottom of canals. In Venice, there is a museum where exhibits are collected from the bottom of the famous canals. Among the items on display, you can find ancient coins, musical instruments, luxury goods, and even cars. This museum tells the city's history through lost and forgotten objects, many of which lay underwater for centuries. Venice, with its labyrinth of canals, has always been a mysterious city. And these underwater discoveries reveal even more secrets of this ancient place. Why did Finland create hedgehog robots for cleaning parks? In Tampere, one of Finland's most eco-conscious cities, robots that look like hedgehogs were invented to collect litter in parks. These adorable devices are equipped with sensors that help them locate and pick up trash. The hedgehog robots not only help keep the parks clean, but also bring joy to park visitors who can watch the little robots at work. How would you react if you learned that the national motto of the USA is "God helps"? This might be surprising, especially in a country where there is no official state religion and freedom of worship is encouraged. The USA is a nation where everyone can choose their own faith, and the government does not interfere in these personal matters. Interestingly, the dollar is not just a currency, but a true icon of the global economy. Its printing is handled by only 12 banks, and the paper for the banknotes is produced by a single company, highlighting the significance of this currency on the world stage. Hard to believe, but the sun makes noise, and we can hear it. Although space is silent in the usual sense, scientists have found a way to hear the sun using special instruments. The sound of the sun is produced by vibrations on its surface and inner layers caused by thermal processes. Scientists have converted these vibrations into sounds that we can hear. If you could listen to the sun, it would sound like a low, humming noise. These solar vibrations help astrophysicists study the sun's internal structure, predict solar flares, and understand the processes happening in its core. You might be a descendant of Genghis Khan. In 2003, scientists conducted a study that revealed that about 16 million men worldwide share a common Y chromosome with Genghis Khan. This means that approximately 1 in 200 men is a direct descendant of this famous conqueror. Genghis Khan and his descendants left a significant genetic legacy across the vast regions he conquered. Although this study focuses on the paternal line, it shows just how intertwined history and genetics can be. Did you know it's impossible to breathe and swallow at the same time? Want to know why? It's all thanks to a small flap in our throat called the epiglottis. When you swallow, the epiglottis automatically closes your airways to keep food and liquid from entering the windpipe. This amazing mechanism protects us from choking and makes swallowing safe. Next time you drink water, think about how your body works behind the scenes to keep you safe every step of the way. Italy, the country of UNESCO treasures. Italy holds the top spot in the world for the number of UNESCO World Heritage Sites, an impressive 58 locations. These include famous landmarks like the Roman Colosseum and the stunning Amalfi Coast, but there are also hidden gems like the Dolomite Mountains that will take your breath away. Italy is a paradise for history lovers, art enthusiasts, and those seeking spectacular landscapes. Every corner of this country is steeped in culture and heritage, making it a must-visit destination for travelers and culture buffs alike. How would you react if I told you there's a building that's built inside out? In Dubai, one of the most unique skyscrapers in the world is Cayenne Tower. This 73-story skyscraper is twisted 90 degrees along its vertical axis. This gives it a distinctive architectural and engineering design. It creates the impression that the building is twisted like a giant spiral. It symbolizes an innovative approach to construction and has become one of the city's main attractions. Believe it or not, the most popular name in the UK is Mohammed. Just like around the world, it ranks first among male names in the UK. Among the most popular female names are Lily, Sophia, Olivia, Amelia, and Ava. Additionally, over 30,000 men in England share the name John Smith. The UK is also home to many notable figures, such as James Ratcliffe, the richest man in the country, and Denise Coates, the richest woman who runs the largest online casino. How do diamonds form from marine animals? In the depths of the ocean, under immense pressure and temperature, carbon from the remains of ancient marine organisms can turn into diamonds. This process takes millions of years, resulting in some of the rarest diamonds, prized for their unique origins. Scientists believe that some diamonds mined in Africa may have formed from these ancient sea creatures, giving the stones not only beauty, but also a history spanning millions of years. How would you react if you found out that the U.S. military funds most of the world's technology? The model by which the U.S. military finances technological developments has been known since the 1960s, when they began supporting the creation of microchips and the Internet, initially aimed at protecting against nuclear strikes. These technologies were later adapted by entrepreneurs like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, becoming the foundation for commercial products that are now in every home and even in every hand in the form of smartphones. Military funding has sparked many technological revolutions, illustrating how military support and innovation go hand in hand with economic development. What if I told you there's an island in Japan covered in volcanic ash? Sakurajima Island in Japan is one of the most active volcanoes in the world. Eruptions occur so frequently that a layer of volcanic ash covers the entire island. Local residents have adapted to living in these conditions, and the island even has special machines to clean volcanic ash from the streets. Despite the constant threat, this island is home to thousands of people and a popular tourist destination. Ban on cars on Mackinac Island. How horses defeated cars. Imagine an island where cars have been banned since the late 19th century. Mackinac Island in Michigan became a place where, in 1898, automobiles were completely banned because they frightened horses, the primary mode of transport at the time. Amazingly, this ban remains in effect to this day. Now you can only get around the island by horse, bicycle, or on foot, and even deliveries are made with horse-drawn carts. Mackinac Island is a unique place where you can enjoy quiet streets without the noise of cars. Male seahorses, a fascinating exception in nature. Did you know that seahorses are the only animals where males carry the offspring? Yes, it's the male seahorses that take on the role of pregnancy. They have a special pouch on their abdomen where the female deposits her eggs. After this, the male seahorse incubates the offspring for about 3 weeks, eventually giving birth to baby seahorses. This unique process makes seahorses one of the most unusual creatures in the animal kingdom. Male sea dragons and pipefish, close relatives of seahorses, also possess this remarkable ability. Nature is full of surprises, and seahorses are living proof that it can break its own rules. How did a book about cheese conquer the world, even in places where it's rarely eaten? In the 1990s, Spencer Johnson's book, Who Moved My Cheese, was published. It was a motivational fable in which cheese symbolized what people want to achieve in life. The book became wildly popular worldwide, even in countries where cheese is not part of the traditional diet, such as China. This was surprising, as the book wasn't about real cheese, but metaphorical cheese, which became a symbol of change and personal goals. The message about adapting to change proved to be universal, and the book sold millions of copies globally. Did you know the term cow is often used incorrectly? The term cow technically refers only to a female cattle that has given birth to at least one calf. A female that has not yet had a calf is properly called a heifer. Male cattle are called bulls. This term is often used incorrectly in everyday conversation when referring to cattle in general. The next time you speak about cows, remember that there are many nuances to the term, depending on the animal's sex and age. Polar bears are invisible to infrared cameras. Polar bears are true masters of camouflage. Thanks to their thick layer of fat and dense fur, they are perfectly insulated from the Arctic cold. But what's truly surprising is that these furry giants are almost invisible to infrared cameras. It's as if they have a natural invisibility cloak, making them the ultimate champions in the game of hide and seek. Good luck spotting them with a thermal camera. The Babylonian lottery. Fate decides dinner. Imagine your dinner invitation being decided by a lottery. In ancient Babylon, there was a lottery where fate literally determined who would attend the feast. This method of selecting banquet guests added an element of randomness and unpredictability to social life. Fate played a decisive role in who would be at the dinner table. This ancient custom shows just how much in life can depend on chance, especially when it comes to something as delightful as dinner. What do kangaroos really need such big tails for? These huge tails not only provide balance but also serve as a fifth leg. When walking, kangaroos lean on their tails, allowing their hind legs to move faster and with less strain. During jumps, the tail helps them maintain equilibrium, and at high speeds, it serves as a stabilizer. Scientists believe that without such a tail, kangaroos wouldn't be able to make their famous 10-meter leaps forward. It's a true multi-tool for these amazing Australian marsupials. Did you know Venus spins backwards? Unlike most planets in our solar system, Venus rotates in the opposite direction, meaning the sun rises in the west and sets in the east. Scientists are still unsure what caused this bizarre behavior, but one theory suggests that Venus may have collided with a massive asteroid long ago, altering its axis. And here's another mind-blowing fact. A day on Venus is actually longer than its year. Can you imagine? Your blood vessels could wrap around the Earth twice. Have you ever wondered how complex the human circulatory system is? If you laid out all the blood vessels in your body end to end, they would stretch about 96,000 kilometers, enough to wrap around the Earth twice. This intricate network of arteries, veins, and capillaries is vital for transporting blood, oxygen, and nutrients to every part of your body. This amazing feat of nature highlights just how complex and beautifully designed our bodies are. Now that you know this fact, you can marvel even more at how your body works. Did you know that cats use their whiskers as measuring tools? Cats are masters of agility, and their secret lies in their whiskers. These long, sensitive hairs aren't just decorative, they play an essential role. A cat's whiskers are usually about as wide as its body and help them determine whether they can fit through narrow spaces. It's like they have a built-in scanner that constantly analyzes their surroundings and warns them of obstacles. Thanks to these magic hairs, cats can move confidently even in complete darkness, always graceful and swift. So, the next time you see a cat squinting to judge a space, remember, their whiskers have already done all the work in the background. Did you know Sirius is the brightest star in the night sky? When you look up at the night sky, you probably notice a bright star shining more brilliantly than all the others. That's Sirius, also known as the Dog Star. Located in the constellation Canis Major, Sirius has a magnitude of -1.46, making it the brightest star visible from Earth. Although it seems close, Sirius is about 8.6 light-years away, adding a sense of mystery and wonder to the night sky. Could it be possible? The pyramids of Giza were once colorful. When the pyramids of Giza were first built, their surfaces were covered with smooth white limestone slabs which reflected sunlight and made them appear bright and sparkling. At the top, there was likely a golden pyramidion, giving the pyramid a dazzling look. Over time, the white stone eroded, and the pyramids became what we see today, stark but still majestic. Hard to believe, but some bacteria can survive in space. Scientists have discovered that some types of bacteria can survive in outer space. In 2020, Japanese researchers conducted an experiment on the International Space Station where bacteria from the Deinococcus genus were exposed to the outside of the station for 3 years. These tiny organisms endured extreme conditions in space, such as radiation, vacuum, and temperature fluctuations. All of this is possible thanks to their unique cellular defense mechanisms that repair DNA damage. Can you imagine such small organisms surviving conditions that would be fatal to humans? This discovery opens up new possibilities for life beyond Earth. Vatican City, the smallest country in the world. Vatican City is an independent city-state located within Rome, Italy, and it covers an area of just about 0.49 square kilometers, making it the smallest country in the world. Despite its modest size, the Vatican is a significant center of the Catholic Church and home to many renowned historical sites like St. Peter's Basilica and the Sistine Chapel. Its population is around 800 people, making it not only the smallest by area but also one of the least populated states in the world. Penguins propose with pebbles. Adelie penguin males don't just seek a mate. They stage a true romantic ritual in the icy vastness of Antarctica. When it's time to win over a female, the male carefully selects the smoothest and most beautiful pebble he can find and presents it to his chosen one as a symbol of his affection. If she accepts this gift, she's ready to pair up with him. This charming gesture has become a symbol of courtship among penguins, adding a touch of warmth to the frozen Antarctic landscape. Imagine if we replaced engagement rings with pebbles. Did you know that frogs can retract their eyes to swallow food? Some species of frogs have an incredible ability to help them swallow their prey. They retract their eyes into their heads. When a frog catches an insect or small prey, its eyes sink deep into its skull, creating pressure that pushes the food down its throat. It's a strange, yet fascinating spectacle in the world of amphibians. Frogs have evolved amazing adaptations that allow them to survive in various environments, and this is just one of the many unique features of their anatomy. Did you know that elephants can hear with their feet? Elephants have a unique ability to sense sound waves through the ground. Their sensitive feet can detect vibrations from several kilometers away. These vibrations help elephants detect approaching predators or other herds. Furthermore, they use this ability to communicate with each other over long distances, transmitting signals and warnings. This sensitivity makes elephants remarkable animals, capable of hearing what is imperceptible to human ears. Believe it or not, the longest earthquake lasted 10 minutes. In 1960, Chile experienced the longest earthquake ever recorded, lasting an astonishing 10 minutes. This seismic event, caused by massive geological forces, triggered devastating tsunamis that even reached the shores of Japan. The earthquake left behind not only physical damage, but also a deep impact on our understanding of tectonic activity and its influence on Earth's surface. It demonstrated the incredible power of the planet and the constant movement of its layers, reminding us that Earth is never truly still. Why are honey mushrooms considered the largest living organisms on the planet? In the forests of Oregon, there is one of the largest organisms on Earth, the honey fungus Armillaria ostoyi. This fungus covers an area of over 9 square kilometers and has been growing for thousands of years. Underground, it forms giant mycelial networks that connect trees and other plants. Above ground, it may look like just a few mushrooms, but beneath the surface lies an enormous network, rivaling the size of large cities. Did you know Bank of America was originally called the Bank of Italy? One of the largest banks in the United States, Bank of America, was originally founded in 1904 in San Francisco as the Bank of Italy. Its founder, Amedeo Giannini, created the bank to serve immigrants and the working class. Over time, the bank expanded and eventually became the financial giant known today as Bank of America. This journey from a small bank for Italian immigrants to an international financial powerhouse is truly a story of success. Did you know that Big Ben is not a clock? Actually, Big Ben is not the name of the clock or the tower, but the bell inside the clock tower. Its full name is the Great Bell of Westminster, but people simply call it Big Ben. It chimes every hour, creating a melody heard by Londoners and visitors alike. It's one of the most recognizable landmarks in the world, and now you know the real story behind the name. The royal game of is the oldest board game, over 4,000 years old. This ancient game was discovered during excavations in Mesopotamia and dates back to around 2600 BCE. Played by 2 players on a 20-square board, the game involved strategic moves with pieces that maneuvered around obstacles. It had a major influence on the development of future board games, demonstrating the strategic thinking of ancient civilizations. Just imagine how deep-rooted our love for games really is. Who would have thought that polar bears have black skin? Yes, beneath their snowy white fur, polar bears actually have black skin. This may seem surprising, but nature designed these animals to have the best possible insulation for surviving in freezing environments. Their black skin helps them absorb more sunlight, while their hollow, transparent fur traps the sun's rays, creating a thermos effect. This incredible adaptation allows polar bears to stay warm in the extreme Arctic cold. Although their fur appears white, it merely reflects the surrounding light, making them almost invisible against the snow and ice. The spring equinox. More than just a change of seasons, the first day of spring is known as the vernal equinox. The term vernal comes from the Latin word for spring, while equinox means equal night in Latin. During this time, day and night are nearly equal in length. An interesting fact, according to a study on Facebook, spring is the season when couples are most likely to break up. Perhaps the balance of day and night encourages people to seek new beginnings. Who knew that an astronomical event could have an impact on our personal lives? How about this? In Sweden, there's a competition for the worst-smelling socks. This may sound absurd, but Sweden holds an annual competition called the Stinky Sock Contest, where participants compete for the title of owning the smelliest socks. The competition attracts many brave souls willing to wear their socks for months without washing in hopes of winning. The socks are judged based on intensity and aroma, and the winner gets not only the title but also unique prizes, such as a year's supply of new socks. It sounds weird, but this contest really exists. Did you know the world's oldest message in a bottle was found after more than a century? In 2018, a bottle washed ashore on a beach in Western Australia containing a message tossed into the Indian Ocean by a German ship in 1886. This message had traveled through the seas for an incredible 132 years before being discovered. Talk about slow and steady mail service. It's a fascinating glimpse into the past, connecting us with a different era. Lakes underwater? Yes, they exist. It's hard to believe, but there are lakes under the water. They are called brine pools or underwater lakes, and they can be found on the ocean floor. How is this possible? It's all about the high salt concentration in these lakes, which makes the water inside them much denser than the surrounding seawater. These salty pools can look like real lakes, separated from the surrounding water, and sometimes unique life forms can be found in them, adapted to these extreme conditions. This is one of the amazing phenomena of our planet, which looks like something straight out of science fiction. Did you know that the Tower of London was once bright white? In the Middle Ages, the Tower of London wasn't gray as it is today, but instead, it was covered with a white plaster, earning it the nickname White Tower. At that time, white plaster symbolized strength and purity. Every few years, the tower was repainted to maintain its bright appearance. Over time, the coating wore away, and the tower became gray due to dirt and pollution. But once, it really was a gleaming white pearl on the London skyline. Being born on February 29th is a 1 in 1,461 chance. People born on February 29th belong to a very rare club, as this date appears on the calendar only once every 4 years during a leap year. The odds of being born on this day are about 1 in 1,461. That means only about 0.0068% of the population celebrates their birthday on February 29th. They often joke that they age only once every 4 years. Some throw grand parties to mark this special day, making it an even more memorable celebration. Can you believe that Canada has more lakes than the rest of the world combined? Yes, it's true. Canada alone has more lakes than all other countries in the world combined. About 60% of all freshwater lakes on the planet are located in this country. From small, crystal-clear ponds to giant lakes like Lake Superior, Canada is famous for its water resources. The variety of lakes makes Canada an ideal destination for nature lovers, water sports enthusiasts, and fishermen. Impressive, isn't it? If you're planning a trip, don't forget to include a visit to one of these unique natural wonders. The deadliest earthquake in history. The deadliest earthquake ever recorded struck Shanxi Province, China, on January 23, 1556. This earthquake had a magnitude of about 8 and claimed the lives of more than 800,000 people, causing massive destruction over a vast area. In the aftermath of this catastrophe, the region's approach to construction changed dramatically, leading to improvements in building practices and earthquake resistance. This tragic event reminds us of how nature can drastically alter the fate of entire populations. Why have the Maldives become synonymous with luxury? Located southwest of Sri Lanka, the Maldives have long been a dream destination for those seeking seclusion, beauty, and opulence. This archipelago is renowned for its pristine white beaches, crystal-clear waters, and vibrant coral reefs. Each year, the Maldives attract more tourists, solidifying their reputation as one of the most exclusive and popular honeymoon or luxury vacation spots. The allure of these islands lies not only in their natural beauty, but also in the unique atmosphere of tranquility that allows escape from the bustle of the world. Have you ever wondered that in Italy there is an exploding vegetable garden? In the Italian village of Trastevere, there is an astonishing phenomenon. Plants in local vegetable gardens can literally explode under certain weather conditions. This happens due to the accumulation of gas in the soil, which, with sudden changes in pressure or temperature, can cause small bursts. The locals call this phenomenon the Garden of Fire. Science does not yet have a clear explanation, but it has become a part of local culture and a tourist attraction. Why do different countries have different-sized banknotes? Banknotes in various countries are sized differently to help people with visual impairments distinguish them by touch. For instance, in the United States, all bills are the same size, but in euros and British pounds, each denomination varies in length and width. This helps not only the visually impaired, but also everyone else quickly differentiate denominations without looking. Additionally, it adds protection against counterfeiting, as counterfeit bills rarely match the exact sizes of the originals. Elephants can mourn and grieve their lost ones. When a member of their herd dies, elephants display deep empathy and support. The others gather around the body, gently touching it with their trunks as if saying goodbye. Some even cover the body with branches or leaves and later return to the spot as if visiting a grave. This behavior shows just how connected elephants are and how deeply they can experience emotions. It's a reminder that understanding loss and respecting the departed is not just a human trait. Why is the American economy so strong? What is the American economy? It comprises half of the world's most valuable companies, with 8 out of the top 10 being American. But what makes this economy so powerful? It's due to its ability to adapt and invest in new sectors. Historically, the U.S. has been very successful in choosing development strategies and has leveraged the economic opportunities from the wars of the 20th century for its growth. Moreover, the U.S. is not only strong domestically, but also controls a significant portion of global trade and production. Who would have thought that the most densely populated state in the U.S. is New Jersey? Despite its small size, New Jersey boasts an incredibly high population density, making it unique in terms of living space. However, California deserves attention for its urbanization and its role as a global tech hub, home to major cities like Los Angeles and San Francisco. Ultimately, every U.S. state is unique and plays its part in the overall picture of the country, serving as an important cultural and economic center. How would you react if you knew that in Japan, buildings are made of paper? In Japan, they are developing innovative buildings made from recycled paper. This material is used for temporary structures such as pavilions or exhibition centers. The paper walls are treated with special substances that make them resistant to rain and fire. This is an example of how modern technologies allow for the construction of eco-friendly buildings that are easy to dismantle and recycle, leaving no harm to the environment. Can you handle the heat of the world's spiciest chili pepper? The Carolina Reaper, bred by farmer Ed Curry in South Carolina, USA, holds the record for being the hottest pepper in the world, with a Scoville rating of 1,600,000 units. That makes it 640 times hotter than a jalapeno. Its wrinkled red skin may look harmless, but consuming it can cause intense pain, sweating, and even vomiting. This is one fiery adventure that only the bravest dare to taste. Is it really possible that Halong Bay is one of the most mystical places on the planet? Halong Bay in Vietnam is a true natural wonder. Thousands of islets immersed in green waters create the impression of a mystical world where reality blends with myth. The limestone formations rising from the ocean make this bay incredibly beautiful and mysterious. This place attracts tourists with its mystical charm and is perfect for those seeking solitude amidst natural beauty. Why is there a restaurant in Tokyo where real ninjas serve food? In Tokyo, there is a restaurant where waiters dress as ninjas, and it's wildly popular. The waiters perform tricks, vanish into thin air, and serve dishes with an air of mystery. The menu features exotic dishes, served with an element of surprise, and every meal is accompanied by a show. It's not just a restaurant, it's a full adventure for those who have always dreamed of seeing ninjas in action. Can you guess which insect is the heaviest in the world? The giant weta, native to New Zealand, holds the title for the heaviest insect in the world. This massive bug can weigh up to 70 grams, more than a sparrow. Wetas can grow up to 10 centimeters long and are truly giant compared to typical crickets. This insect is the heavyweight champion of its species and continues to amaze even the most experienced entomologists with its colossal size. How much do you think the world's largest burger weighs? In 2017, a Michigan restaurant cooked up the world's biggest burger, weighing in at a whopping 1,164 kilograms. That's over 2,500 pounds of beef. The burger was stacked with 300 pounds of cheese, 150 pounds of lettuce, 150 pounds of onions, and 100 pounds of bacon. It took 10 hours to cook and was served to 350 guests. That's one burger you'll never forget. You might not know that Americans are true workaholics. In the U.S., the work culture is so pronounced that many citizens start their workday at 6 a.m. and finish well after midnight. Americans often invest their lives in their careers, creating an image of a working people constantly striving for success. This work ethic is deeply embedded in American culture and is seen as an integral part of their pursuit of prosperity. Interestingly, Pennsylvania is home to the Amish, a group that has completely rejected modern civilization's conveniences and leads a life dedicated to hard work without high technology. Can you imagine that Uluru is not just a rock, but a massive monolith revered by many cultures? Uluru is a majestic red monolith located in the center of Australia. It stands 348 meters tall and is one of the most iconic natural landmarks in the world. Uluru holds spiritual significance for the Aboriginal people, who consider it the center of their spiritual world. Despite its popularity among tourists, local traditions call for respect towards this site, including a ban on climbing the rock itself. Incredibly, a blue whale's heartbeat can be heard from 2 miles away. The heart of the blue whale, the largest animal on the planet, beats so powerfully that it can be heard up to 2 miles, 3.2 kilometers away. This amazing fact shows just how enormous and powerful these ocean giants are. A blue whale's heart weighs as much as a car, pumping blood through arteries so wide a person could swim through them. Imagine, this natural machine sets the rhythm of an entire ocean. Why is Venus hotter than Mercury, even though it's farther from the sun? Despite Mercury being the closest planet to the sun, Venus holds the title of the hottest planet in our solar system. Its surface temperature reaches 460 degrees Celsius, or about 860 degrees Fahrenheit. This is all due to its dense atmosphere, mostly made up of carbon dioxide, which creates a powerful greenhouse effect, trapping heat. Venus's atmosphere acts like a giant blanket, making it resemble an inferno even though it's farther from the sun. Can you imagine that trees can make it rain? Yes, trees not only produce oxygen, but also help form rain clouds. This happens through a process called transpiration. When trees release water vapor through their leaves, the vapor rises into the atmosphere, where it condenses and forms rain clouds. This natural process shows just how essential trees are to maintaining the water cycle on our planet. Every forest is not only a source of oxygen, but also a key part of the water cycle, without which Earth would be a very different place. Where do you think the largest Chinatowns in the world are located? They are, of course, San Francisco and Manhattan in New York City. These areas have become centers of life and culture for Chinese immigrants, featuring numerous restaurants, shops, and cultural events. New York is also known for Brighton Beach, a compact neighborhood primarily inhabited by immigrants from the former USSR. This is one of the most vibrant and culturally rich communities in the U.S., home to around 80,000 people, creating a unique atmosphere for new generations and tourists. Did you know there is a musical record left on the moon? In 1971, during the Apollo 15 mission, a music record was left on the moon with recordings of earthly artists. This record, featuring songs from the Beatles and others, became a symbol of peace and humanity. Today, it remains there as a message for future generations or even aliens who might find it and hear the sounds of our planet. It turns out that hippos secrete bloody sweat to protect themselves from the sun. Hippos' skin produces a special reddish liquid that acts as sunscreen and has antiseptic properties. This bloody sweat not only protects hippos from harmful UV rays, but also helps heal wounds. In the wild, this feature makes hippos true survival experts, who have found an amazing way to shield themselves from the sun. Did you know that the name John is over 4,000 years old? The name John is one of the oldest in human history, documented more than 4,000 years ago. This name has endured through countless ages and cultures, remaining relevant even today. Just imagine, millions of people throughout history have carried this simple yet powerful name, which continues to symbolize tradition and endurance. Hard to believe, but snakes can sleep with their eyes open. Snakes don't blink because they don't have eyelids. Instead, their eyes are covered by a transparent scale. During sleep, their eyes remain open, giving the impression that they are always watching their surroundings. This feature helps snakes stay alert to threats even while resting. The transparent scale also protects their eyes from dust and dirt, which is especially important for desert and forest dwellers. It's an incredible adaptation that allows them to sense danger even in their sleep. Amazingly, some doors are always closed. In many historical buildings, especially old castles, there are doors that are never opened. These false doors were created to confuse intruders or ghosts, or simply served a decorative purpose. For example, in British castles, such doors were used to create the illusion of more rooms and to protect residents from unwanted visitors. Today, these doors remain as mysterious architectural elements. Who would have thought that China has entire ghost cities? In China, there are cities built for millions of people, but they remain almost empty. For example, Ordos is a city designed for 1 million residents, but in reality, only a few thousand people live there. These are huge quarters with skyscrapers that have never been inhabited. The reasons for this disappearance of people are not entirely clear, making these ghost cities a real mystery for urban researchers. Did you know that only 1/10 of an iceberg's mass is visible? When we see an iceberg, it may seem like just a big block of ice. However, 90% of its volume is hidden underwater. This happens because the density of ice is lower than that of seawater, causing most of the iceberg to remain beneath the surface. That's why icebergs are so dangerous for ships. Their true size is much larger than what is visible above the water. Tiny plants, mighty power. Half of Earth's oxygen comes from the ocean. The oxygen we breathe is not only created by forests, but also by tiny marine organisms like plankton, algae, and seaweed. These little factories produce more than half of the planet's oxygen through photosynthesis. Thanks to sunlight, they transform carbon dioxide into oxygen, which is vital for all living beings on Earth. This amazing fact reminds us of the importance of the oceans and their role in sustaining life on our planet. What if I told you that you can boil water just by shaking it? Yes, it's true, although practically impossible to do. If you shake a container of water fast and hard enough, you can create friction, which will raise the water's temperature. Theoretically, if you shake it quickly enough, you could even bring the water to a boil. This unusual physics experiment shows how mechanical energy can be converted into heat. While you won't be making tea this way, the mere possibility that shaking could boil water is astonishing. Did you know a group of kangaroos is called a mob? Yes, that's true. A group of these fascinating animals is called a mob, and the name perfectly describes their social behavior. Kangaroos live in large groups, moving and foraging together. Their social structure is well coordinated, with each mob acting as a unit. This makes them unique not only biologically but also behaviorally. Now, when you see a group of kangaroos, you can call them a mob and impress your friends with this fun fact. Why does Italy have a bell tower that sings? In the quiet town of Cefalù, Sicily, stands an unusual bell tower that produces melodic sounds when the wind whistles through it. This effect is created by narrow slits in the tower's structure that transform the airflow into music resembling organ sounds. Locals call it the voice of the tower, believing it preserves the memory of ancient times. Tourists from around the world come to hear this unique melody on cloudy, windy days, filling the streets with a mystical sound. Owls don't just see, they mesmerize. Owls don't have typical eyeballs. Instead, they have specialized tubular eyes. This unique adaptation allows them to keep their eyes fixed, giving them exceptional binocular vision and the ability to rotate their heads almost 270 degrees. Thanks to this, owls become masters of nighttime hunting, detecting even the slightest movements in complete darkness. Their eyes are more than just organs of sight. They are powerful tools that make them incredible hunters. And every time they turn their heads, it's like witnessing nature's magic in action. Is it true that blood type O is the most common in the world? Yes. Blood type O is indeed the most common on the planet. Approximately 38% of the world's population has this blood type, making it not only the most frequent, but also highly valuable for transfusions. Because of its universal compatibility, type O blood can be given to anyone with a positive blood type, which makes it critical in medical emergencies. If you have blood type O, know that you possess a valuable resource that could save countless lives. The first item ever sold on eBay was a broken laser pointer. In 1995, eBay founder Pierre Omidyar listed a broken laser pointer as a test for his new platform. Surprisingly, it was bought by a collector of broken laser pointers for $14.83. This unexpected success demonstrated the potential of online commerce, showing that even seemingly useless items could find a buyer. Who would have thought that a broken object would change the world of online sales forever? Earth's gravity. Why isn't it the same everywhere? Have you ever wondered why gravity varies slightly in different places on Earth? It turns out this is due to many factors, such as altitude, the density of Earth's crust, and the distance from the equator. Gravity is stronger at the poles and in places with denser crust, like mountain ranges, because these areas are closer to the Earth's center. Conversely, gravity is weaker at high altitudes, such as on top of Mount Everest and near the equator. These variations are caused by the distribution of mass on the planet and the fact that Earth is slightly flattened at the poles. This highlights the complexity and uniqueness of our gravitational field. Now you know in some places on Earth you weigh a little more or less than in others. Why did the famous bridge in Venice almost sink? The Rialto Bridge is the oldest and one of the most recognizable bridges in Venice. It began to sink shortly after its construction in the 16th century. Venice itself is subject to constant flooding, so the bridge has gradually sunk over time. Engineers have conducted numerous restoration works to preserve it, but Venice still faces the threat of sinking, and the Rialto Bridge serves as a reminder of the fragility of this magnificent city. How about this? every fifth dollar in U.S. taxes goes to defense. This essentially means that the U.S. spends vast sums on developing its military strength and maintaining global influence. One of the most recognizable symbols of American power, the 100 bill, features Benjamin Franklin, who was never a president but played a crucial role in the nation's history. This approach symbolizes not only the influence of individuals, but also the importance of strategic management at all levels, including defense funding. It's interesting that elephants have toes on their feet. Beneath the massive feet of elephants lies something surprising: 5 toes with thick pads that help evenly distribute the giant's weight. This allows elephants to move almost silently, despite their enormous size. Furthermore, these toes help them walk on various terrains, from desert sands to dense jungles, without getting stuck or injuring their feet. This foot structure makes their movement light and graceful, with each step feeling the surface beneath them. Is it possible that earthworms can regenerate their bodies? Yes, it's true. If an earthworm loses part of its body, it can regenerate the lost segment. However, contrary to popular myths, if you cut a worm in half, only the part with the head will survive. Regeneration in earthworms is a fascinating process, but it's not as magical as some may think. Imagine being able to regrow parts of your body as if nothing ever happened. Why did ancient Romans wear togas? The toga was a symbol of Roman civic authority and status. Only free men could wear it, and putting it on incorrectly was considered shameful. But it wasn't just about fashion. The toga was highly impractical and required constant adjusting, signifying that its wearer was above manual labor. Plus, it was so hot and uncomfortable that Romans only wore it on special occasions. Who would have thought ancient fashion could be so complicated and impractical? It's interesting that messages in bottles can travel for years across the sea. Sometimes bottles with messages thrown into the sea can float for years before reaching a shore. The longest recorded journey of such a message lasted about 133 years. During that time, the bottle traveled thousands of kilometers. These random journeys have inspired countless stories, and even in our digital age, people continue to throw bottles into the ocean, hoping to connect with future generations. What do cats purr for, really? We often think cats only purr when they're happy, but they actually use purring as a self-healing mechanism. The sound frequency of about 25 Hz helps cats speed up bone and tissue healing. It's a biological feature that not only relaxes them, but also promotes health. So when your cat purrs, it's not just showing contentment, it's also caring for its well-being. Here's what lies behind those black taxis in London. London taxi drivers operate black cabs and must pass a challenging exam to become licensed operators. This exam involves memorizing the city without the aid of maps or navigation systems. This is set against the backdrop of London's often chaotic street layout, shaped by the city's ancient history that prevented the creation of rational plans. In some cases, such as during World War II, authorities intentionally removed street signs to confuse the enemy. How would you react if you found out that moving lakes exist in Kenya? In Kenya, there are unique salt lakes that change location depending on rainfall levels. These lakes can disappear for months, only to reappear in a new location after the rainy season. Researchers believe that the movement of water in these lakes depends on underground rivers and tectonic shifts. Such lakes create a unique ecosystem, attracting animals and birds that follow the water. Why do you think shells were used as money? In addition to shells, other items such as metal spearheads, animal skins, special stones, pieces of metal, grains, salt, and various goods also served as currency. These items acted as means of exchange in different cultures and societies. In the modern world, certain goods still function as currency under specific conditions. For example, in prisons, cigarettes are used as barter items, and in conflict zones, ammunition may even serve this purpose in some cases. How do insects breathe without lungs? Insects have a fascinating respiratory system. They don't have lungs, but instead breathe through tiny pores called spiracles. These spiracles are located on their thorax and abdomen, allowing air to flow through a network of tubes called tracheae. Some insects can even control their breathing by opening and closing the spiracles, and in low oxygen conditions they can temporarily slow their metabolism by recycling the oxygen stored in their tracheae. This respiratory system is just one of the many ingenious adaptations that help insects thrive in diverse environments. How about this? There are road maps for astronauts on the moon. During the Apollo missions, special markings were made on the moon's surface to help astronauts navigate. These markers included lines and even arrows pointing in specific directions. In an environment where horizontal landmarks are not obvious and visibility is limited, these markers were crucial. Although the moon seems empty, these hidden details help future missions avoid getting lost and allow better exploration of Earth's satellite. Kiwi, the bird that can't fly but rules New Zealand. The kiwi bird is not just a national symbol of New Zealand. It's a true star. Despite having wings, the kiwi can't fly, but that doesn't stop it from being an icon of its country. These small birds are known for their unique appearance and habits. They are nocturnal and use their keen sense of smell to find food. The kiwi is so important to New Zealand that the locals call themselves kiwi. This proves that even the smallest and most unusual bird can become the symbol of an entire nation. Butterflies taste with their feet. Butterflies travel the world not just by flying, but by walking on their food. They have taste receptors located right on their feet, giving them a sort of built-in gourmet GPS. These special sensors allow butterflies to quickly find the perfect leaves to lay their eggs. Imagine living in a world where you don't taste with your mouth but with your feet. Butterflies live in that curious reality every day. Did you know the term internet was first used in 1974? We all know the internet is an essential part of modern life, but did you know the first mention of the word was in 1974? At that time, internet was used to describe a global network of interconnected computer systems. Back then, it was a novelty. But by the end of the 20th century, the internet became a revolutionary technology that changed the world. Today, billions of people are connected online, and the internet has become not just a communication tool, but also a key platform for business, science, and education. Did you know that the Panama Canal served not only commercial, but also military purposes for the United States? Why did the U.S. need to build the Panama Canal in the early 20th century? The answer is simple. It was key to their strategic dominance over two oceans. Although Panama was part of Colombia, it provided the ideal location for constructing a canal that could connect the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. The U.S. resolved this issue by supporting Panama's independence, securing a significant advantage in global trade and military control. The Panama Canal became a crucial element of American foreign policy and national security, enabling rapid deployment of troops and goods between the two oceans.